Well, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Sports. It was a long what was the last time we recorded? It was 2 weeks ago, y'all. We had to take a break last week. I had to kind of lock in and kind of refocus, retool a lot of things. Jaron, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. Ohio sucked. Pennsylvania kind of sucks even worse, but we're making it through day by day.
He's on a world tour, and that's your girls' tour, y'all. But also, Jaron, by the way, bro, last night, Jaron, I had probably the most I don't know. Do you ever have a lot of brain fog sometimes when you're doing either work or you're just out and about or something like that? Doing daily tasks.
Yeah, 100%. Especially what I do for work. Yes, for sure.
So for me, bro, yesterday I don't know what I was doing. What was it? I went into work. It was closing time, so it's around 11 p.m. Getting into the 12 a.m. range and stuff like that. I work kind of late, so I'll be getting out of work possibly as late as 2 a.m. or something like that. And so basically, what happened yesterday was, I'm going into start my closing duties and stuff like that. And then what happened was, I started tweaking out because so I count money. I have to count money at the end of the night. And then one of the banks was completely missing. And so I was like, what's going on here? So I'm kind of scrambling, going back and forth out of the count room, into the office, back downstairs. And then one of the times I left my phone, I left my keys in the count room, and I locked it. I locked myself out. And so we have a lockbox right outside of our office, but I didn't remember the combination to get in. So I'm scrambling around. I'm going into my GM's office. He has a bunch of keys on his office, on his desk too. I'm trying to figure out, do these keys unlock the door? None of them worked because we changed the locks. I forgot we changed the locks a couple months ago. So those keys were no good. None of them were opening up that count room. I'm cooked. I don't got my phone, so I can't even text anyone or call someone to see if they know the combination or not. So then I go downstairs and I'm looking around. I'm like, is there any other keys around here? I'm trying to figure out if there's any keys. I'm freaking out. And then so I go outside of the what is it? Of my job. And so basically what happened was I'm checking around, another area that has another lockbox that I can go in. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I remember the code for this one, or I remember the combination. Nope, I didn't. I had to keep the door pried open because, like I said, it was closing time. I have no fucking keys nowhere, and so that had me tweaking out. And then basically I called at least three of the managers. I had to call three of them on the work phone. None of them answered. I had to leave a voicemail. And luckily one of them got back to me and was like, oh, here, this is the number for it. And so luckily God is good. I was able to actually get myself inside of that, back into the thing. Cause I was about to trip out, dog. I was like, am I just going to leave work and not finish anything at all? And leave my phone, leave everything. And then as soon as I got in there, I texted my GM. I said, hey, not to be alarmed or anything, but I lost one of the banks. And then he was like, oh, well, then where is it? What happened? I was like, I'm checking the cameras right now, and I don't even remember grabbing it. And I looked at the cameras, and I only grabbed one of them. And then I looked to my right, and it looks like I actually had the bank. I just already did the numbers and did the count and took out the money, how much was owed and stuff like that. I already did it. So, but mind you, I spent 30 minutes. So then that added more time. I didn't get off of work. I mean, I did overtime. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? They're probably gonna be a little upset. I worked 9 hours yesterday. I got out working around 2:30 as opposed to hopefully getting out around 1:30 because I was scrambling around looking for this. So that was my experience last night. I was completely fried. I don't know if you have any similar kind of experiences or anything like that, Jaron.
I mean, we call it having a day. I go through that. I inspect a lot of houses, so I'll go from house to house. Sometimes they'll be 30, 40 minutes apart. I've gone to one house, I've left ladders at houses without realizing. I've left boots at houses. I've left my phone, camera, important documents. It happens all the time. I really get the case of the fuck it's whenever it's too far apart. So if I'm an hour from that last house, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Keep those fucking boots. I don't want them. I don't care no more. So I know exactly what you went through.
Yeah, man. It definitely was one of those days, and it's just I don't know, just like, cause I'm at work almost every day. So it's like, and I know you do too. And you know, you're doing things constantly every day. So it's like, and we're over here like, and we got in our spare time, we're over here doing this podcast and stuff like that too. And like, we're either, criticizing like either GMs or, whoever from like different organizations and stuff like that, when possibly, maybe they have their fucking moments too. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
and you know
everybody's
what?
human.
Everybody's human. And then honestly, kind of tying into it, we're going on a little league tour in the NBA of our the top teams, and looking into like how their offseason went, and then also kind of predicting their future in this next upcoming season. I mean, two teams that seem kind of had that kind of fuck it moment, or kind of like a little bit of a just kind of like a brain fog, I guess you could say. We're probably the two teams in LA, actually, if you want to look into it, both being the LA Lakers and the Clippers. So, Jaron, let's kind of dive right into this this analysis of these two LA teams. Let's look at the Lakers real quick, Jaron, how their offseason has been shaping out. The Lakers last year went 50-32, third in the West. It was JJ Redick's first year as head coach for them. Obviously, the biggest thing from the entire, honestly, that's been talked about all year was the huge blockbuster trade before the deadline for Luka. In the postseason, the Lakers, they kind of struggled in the postseason. They lost in the first round in 5 games to the Timberwolves. If we look at the additions this offseason, they haven't made too many moves, you know what I'm saying? But one of the moves, and I think you harped on it, I believe Noah kind of harped on it too, they got their center. They signed DeAndre Ayton, and they also got Jake. What is it? Is it Jake LaRavia? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Jake LaRavia. Yeah,
Jake LaRavia. Both of them signing a 2-year deal with Ayton having a player option in his second year. One maybe key guy they lost was Dorian Finney-Smith. Lost him to the Houston Rockets. Some other key things, LeBron, he opted into his player option as well, and we discussed on that 2 weeks ago as well. Another key thing, which kind of might be very important because, he's probably going to have a major spotlight on him this season, is Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves declined an extension with the Lakers and will be testing free agency next year. So this is a contract year for him. So either, this is a make or break the bank for him, in terms of maybe with the Lakers. Maybe he sees a future with them, or maybe he doesn't and goes to a different team and be the star for that team. So that's it for the Lakers. We're going to get into them once after I finish with the Clippers as well. As for the Clippers, though, Jaron, Clippers, same record as the Lakers, went 50-32. They were the 5th seed in the West. They lost in 7 games in the first round to the Nuggets. Some key guys they added Brook Lopez to a 2-year deal. They were also involved in a 3-team trade actually recently with the Jazz and the Heat. The Clippers got John Collins, and then the Heat received Dago native actually, Norman Powell, and then the Jazz get Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson and a future 2nd-round pick. Some other key things is James Harden declined his player option and signed a new 2-year deal with the Clippers to give them more flexibility for the future. So that's kind of what it's looking like so far. Both of the teams, nothing too crazy this offseason so far for them. I wouldn't say it's quiet because we definitely have another team in California that's been very quiet in the Warriors, but we'll get to them in another day. But, nothing too crazy, but let's kind of look into it. We'll start with the Lakers, Jaron. Like I said, I think they finally found their big man. They struggled that's been like the case for them. What is it? All of last year, even with, having AD, because they weren't even playing AD at the, they were playing AD at the center position though, right? But he didn't want to be at the center position, right? Or something like that. So it was that going on. And then when he got traded, they didn't really have a big man. Like, they got Jackson Hayes, you know what I'm saying? Or they probably threw in Jared Vanderbilt or somebody like that. They threw someone at that 5 spot. And so with DeAndre Ayton, he has a lot of potential. Me personally, I don't watch Portland games because who really wants to watch a Portland game? No, you know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like his potential is there. He was a number 1 overall pick not too long ago. Let's not forget, you know what I'm saying? Yep. And I think, like I said, he hasn't been in the greatest situations, I feel like. And I think with Luka and LeBron, they can help elevate him to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And so there's also some rumors that Lumen, though, that we'll get into afterward. But Jaron, before we get into that, I kind of want to get your take. How you feeling? You're a Lakers fan yourself, so how you feeling about this Lakers offseason so far?
It's okay. DeAndre Ayton is great. He wasn't my first choice, but he'll do because I mean, you just need someone who can get in there, grab you boards, and two, play defense, which Jackson Hayes could do neither. So this is perfect. Now the only thing is that sucks for me is when Dorian Finney-Smith left, that takes away a good amount of shooting and defense. He's a pure 3-and-D and a good one at that. I mean, he got the contract he got in Houston for that reason. I mean, it really just means that, Rui, Jared Vanderbilt, and Dalton Connect. Dalton Connect is the biggest one to me. They got to step up and add a little bit, bring a little bit more to the table. Uh, Dalton Connect, I feel like was fine until they did the whole trade rescind thing, but that's another conversation. I feel like he hasn't been the same since then. But with the open opportunity, I hope that he can step into that role. And then also our second round pick, a dude Thiero from Arkansas is also somewhat of a 3-and-D type of player. Maybe more defensive oriented than scoring and shooting oriented, but still he's 6'6", he's got good measurables, and he's 21. So I mean, if he can get in there and guard somebody, that's all we really need. In addition, because last year, what was our problem? No rebounding,
Mm-hmm.
and niggas were getting fried. So I think it's we're around the same. It's just some people got to step up if we're going to take the next step.
No, and definitely. And then I think the other thing too is like, and I think the rumors have been swirling around because the moment and it's been the talk of the century all this year in terms of Luca and then like his weight and all this stuff like that. And there's been a lot of rumors saying that he's slimmed down, he got bulky, he's definitely he's I think DeAndre Ayton actually went on to state that he's excited to play with him because hey, he's a swole guy and he's like like he's put some muscle on him and he's definitely lost some weight.
Rip Romeo.
Yeah, he said he's
He said he
ripped.
was ripped.
Yeah, he said he's ripped. So, in terms of, I guess JJ Redick's first off season so far, first full off season as the Lakers head coach. And I believe what is it? Didn't the Lakers also sell the team as well? Yeah. So like this
Yeah.
something's brewing over there in LA, Jaron. Like, how do you feel about how do you feel about that as well?
I mean, I know that some like Braun didn't who felt a little blindsided. I think the report came out that they didn't really talk to him about it. Not that they have to,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean it's fine. They've sold it for 10 bill. Do you know how much Jeannie Buss's dad bought the Lakers for? We're talking like a fraction, like a very small fraction of that 10 billion number. I would do it too. Shit. I mean, come on now. That's easy. I wouldn't. I'm not mad at it at all. There's no problem with that.
Definitely. And then my next question for you too is gonna be like, I mean, we've seen DeAndre Ayton and his antics a little bit when he played for these other teams as well. And then I mean, looking at JJ Redick his first year, he's a non BS type of guy. You know what I'm saying? He will sit you on the bench. He does not give a damn. He don't care how good you are. If you're gonna go around, complaining or whatever it is. Which I mean, for DeAndre Ayton, I mean, it might be a little warranted just because of the situations he was in. But how do you feel? Do you think this relationship between him? This is gonna be interesting because him is gonna be JJ with obviously with LeBron, with Luca and DeAndre Ayton. How do you think he has what it takes? I mean, he's younger than LeBron, of course, but
Of
do
course.
you think he has that ability?
I just think he needs someone to believe in him. That's
Mm,
all. He went from like he was the number one overall pick and he was the guy. And that team, he was on a team that went to the finals. Let's not sit here and discredit that. And unfortunately, it didn't go well. They lost, and Monty Williams publicly blamed him. He publicly came out and was like, DeAndre Ayton quit on us. That he said this to the media. Monty Williams was fired for obvious reasons. You don't drive a wedge in between your players like that. So I mean, as a young guy, what was he in 2021? He's 27 right now. We're talking he was 23. You're 23 years old and your coach is saying you quit on all your other teammates and everything like that. And then they ship you off for fucking Yusuf Nurkic or whatever. Like that's fucked. And you go to Portland and it's Portland, like you said, we're not watching Portland games. We don't care. So he was
mhm.
playing a lot of meaningless basketball. I feel like coming to the Lakers, he will have and he will have a support system, with Braun, JJ Redick, who are two like vets of the game and understand the game at a very high level. and then also Luka, who Luka loves his bigs. So I mean, I feel like he just needs those types of guys to believe in him, which I feel like they will, and it'll probably help him. He's still a what is it, 18-10, 18-12 guy. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he can still produce
yeah.
those type of numbers for sure.
Most definitely. And then staying on the Lakers and more particular in LeBron, and I don't know, I don't know how true these rumors are. I don't know how reliable these sources are, but there are some rumors looming, Jaron, about LeBron with teams reaching out to his agent, Rich Paul, in terms of a trade. And those teams, let me lay out the teams to you, too. So one being the Dallas Mavericks, the LA Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, and the Cleveland Cavs. Now, Jaron, what do you think about that? Like this uncertainty. There's been uncertainty ever since that player option. You know what I'm saying? So it's been around like 2-3 weeks, maybe even since they got bounced out the first round of LeBron's future. So what do you think? What do you think about this?
I I I may have the unpopular opinion when it comes to this, but that nigga can go. Like truthfully, truth be told, if he wants a trade, let him go. He doesn't. We don't owe him anything. We don't owe him anything. He doesn't owe us anything. If he wants to leave, he can leave. I think of it as like I've been waiting for the post Braun era since 2023. I just think he's still a great player, but I think at 40 years old, he just can't carry a team. He can't be 1A, 1B like he was with AD, and he can't do that with Luka. I feel like he needs a very, very solid team around him right now because he wants to win too. He doesn't want to be the guy that has to average fucking 30, 40 points. So, I mean, if he wants to go, I say let him go because the trade that would come in return, oh man, I mean, it's got to the new rules. It's got to match up money wise, and he makes so much. So, I mean, no, we would only get a superstar in return at that point, and I'm not mad at it. Wouldn't be mad at it at all. We get younger too. No matter what, you get younger. No matter what trade you make.
Mm-hmm. That's real. And then let's just kind of look at it now. Let's kind of like dive in and try to predict this Lakers team. So look, second year under JJ, we're gonna get a full year of Luka, hopefully barring any injury, who's beating the fat allegations, by the way. And then, like I said, the new center and DeAndre Ayton. Me personally, I think worst case scenario for the Lakers is they're the 6th seed. You know what I'm saying? Because what was it? I think 3 through 5 or 3 through 6 all had similar records. It just more so was just a gut wrenching battle in the West. So being the 6th seed, you could probably still be a 50-win team and be the 6th seed in the West.
Yeah.
So in which the Lakers, I mean, they got lucky and got the 3rd seed because of tiebreaker scenarios and all that good stuff. But or they could be as high as the 2nd seed. I don't know if they can get to that 1st seed and topple the Thunder, who I think will probably still have be the top of the West. But like I said, I can see them winning still another 50 games this year again. So, in terms of you, what do you think about this those Laker team?
They're as it's built, they're definitely a 50-win team for sure. They're definitely a playoff team. They're not a play-in team. They're a playoff team for sure. I think it's safe to say that the Thunder, the Rockets, and the Nuggets will probably be the definitive top 3 teams in the West. I think that's safe to say. But 4 through 7 up for grabs. 4 through 6, excuse me, up for grabs for sure. And they'll probably all be 50-win teams.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then let's kind of transition to the rivals in the Clippers. For the Clippers, they traded away Powell after he had probably one of his best seasons, which I thought was a little bit of a head scratcher. Not too sure, what they wanted going in that route. Not too sure. Maybe you can kind of help me out here. But John Collins himself, he kind of is a do-it-all type of he kind of can play the big. He can play the 5 spot, for the Clippers as well. They don't necessarily need it, but he can definitely space the floor. He can score on all 3 levels, I feel like, as well. And he can grab boards and and help out James Harden and stuff like that. And then in terms of their signing of Brook Lopez, he's a very serviceable backup center, I feel like, for Zubac. He has championship pedigree as well. And so when we look at this Clippers team, Jaron, how do you feel about them?
They got better. They did. So the way James Harden plays is he's going to have the ball 15 seconds out of the shot clock. He's either going to find someone to hit a corner 3 or he's going to throw a lob. So, I mean, You got Brooke. You add Brooke Lopez, who can shoot. John Collins can jump out the gym. And you still have Derek Jones Jr. You still have Bogdan for offense. Like it's really a team that is more catered to James Harden, because James Harden played really good last year, but they felt like they were missing just a couple things. And Norman Powell is he's very effective, but he's ball dominant. You got to give Norman Powell the ball for him to be effective. That doesn't help James Harden. That doesn't help James Harden at all. So I mean, I understand why they did what they did. I think they got a lot better.
Definitely. And then so in terms of this Clippers team, like I said, and I personally think they got better too. Like I said, I think now it makes more sense because having James Harden and Norman Powell, like it's kind of almost the same player. It seems like that's what you're saying, right, Jared? So it's almost having the same exact player. So, and it doesn't usually work out when you have two of the same players who are ball dominant and, need the ball in their hands. So I can see why they moved on from Norman Powell. Like I said, but he had his best year last year too, even with having James Harden as well and stuff like that. And, and hopefully, for the Clippers, I think one of the main issues is Kawhi. Is Kawhi going to stay healthy? Is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to be able to play? Not even a full season, but I feel like even if he could play at least, 70 plus games or something like that, you know what I'm saying? And just
that's a full season.
That is damn near a full season. That is true. But or like 60, that 50 to 60 game range, you know what I'm saying, for Kawhi Leonard. That could definitely help out this Clippers team. Again, for the Clippers, like I said, they were a 50-win team last year as well, and they were again in that hard-fought Western Conference. I could see them doing it again this year. I didn't see them really drop off. They just really got better, honestly. So I can see them winning 50 games again. And I don't know, like I said, same as the Lakers, they can range from that 2 to 6 range, just because how heavy the West is and how much there's so much dominance in the West. So I can definitely see them, going along that range. Now, in terms of like further, advancing further, between these rivals, because wait, Jaron, who won the regular season series between these teams? Was it the Lakers or did the Clippers win?
The Lakers, because we had the same roster, same
record, but
we were above them.
Yeah, so I mean,
we had the split.
I personally can see. I give it to the Lakers because I can never really, you can't really count out LeBron. And now that there's a big three over there with LeBron, Luka, and Ayton, that's going to definitely feed families. So I think they're probably going to advance further than this Clippers team in terms of like probably record wise, and also possibly in the postseason as well. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's a team. It just makes the West more scary. That's all. Like they're going to be the same team. They're going to be a high playoff seed. I wouldn't want to run into this team in the first round, but I mean, you don't want to run into any team in the West in the first round. Like it's just bad. It's bad. It's a war zone, and I don't know how they're doing it, but these teams like are continuing to stay competitive with each other when there's like there's not much out there left, but they're still making waves and making moves to make themselves more competitive. It's these front offices in the West are doing very good.
They really are. They really are. So we can't really falter them for, these moves they make, you know what I'm saying? But I want to know what you guys think down below in terms of this Lakers team and Clippers team. Which one of these teams do you think will advance further? How do you feel about their offseason and how that went for them? And also, what's the future for LeBron? Is he going to stay with the Lakers, or are they going to move on from him? Obviously, Jaron believes that, if they move on from him, that's a good thing. And, we'll see. We got to keep our eyes on this as time goes on. You know what I'm saying? So
win-win as a Laker fan.
I mean, that would possibly, like you said, because you will get younger. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, okay? All right, Jaron, we're doing league tours, and now let's kind of transition over to the NFL. We're doing another, divisional kind of like recap, or kind of just looking over these teams. So we did the AFC North 2 weeks ago, and it's fitting that you're in another AFC North city, or where are you at again?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
You're in Pennsylvania, or you're in the state.
You're
in the state.
I'm 2 hours from Philly.
2 hours from Philly. 2 hours. How far are you from Pittsburgh?
3.5 hours.
3.5. So it's kind of fitting though. You're in some states where we talked about the AFC North 2 weeks ago. But let's kind of move over to the NFC North now, Jaron. Now the NFC North, with the has the Packers, Bears, Vikings, and Lions. Last year, Jaron, we seen 3 teams make it into the playoffs in this division, with the Lions being the NFC North champs for the 2nd consecutive year. So let's kind of dive into these teams and see some additions, losses, and stuff like that, and kind of predict where these teams will sit going into next year. So in terms of the Lions, Jaron, they had a franchise best. They went 15-2 last year, number 1 seed in the NFC, and they outright division winners as well. Unfortunately, they lost in the divisional round to the Commanders. But for this Lions team, when we look at it, like one of their biggest issues was, I think, being hit. There was a team that was hit with the injury bug, right? But I think injury bug is an understatement. They were ran over and dragged by the injury bug for sure. But let's look at some of the key additions. The Lions, they didn't make too many big moves this offseason. They kind of kept most of their core guys in terms on the offensive side for sure. But on the defensive side, they lost some guys. But they were able to sign vet corner DJ Reed. They re-signed Dan Skipper, their tackle, which I think was key for them. They drafted Tyleik Williams, who's adding much depth for the Lions. Their defense? Because like I said, last year they didn't have the depth, and that's probably why they lost to the Commanders. Because going into that divisional game, they still had injuries that they were dealing with. So, and some of their key losses though, they lost Carlton Davis the third. So even getting DJ Reed, he's not a big upgrade in the sense of, in terms of Carlton Davis the third. They lost Kevin Zettler as well, their offensive lineman, and they also released Zadarius Smith. So that was kind of a head scratcher for this Lions team, but we'll kind of look more into them with our personal opinions after I run it down a little bit more. Now for the Vikings. Now, Darren, this was the surprise team last year. We always all have that surprise team, whether it be Tampa Bay a couple years ago with Baker coming at the helm his first year, or, whatever. This was the year for the Vikings. The Vikings, a lot of people kind of counted them out last year at the beginning of the year after J.J. McCarthy went down with that injury. And everyone just thought, okay, maybe, Sam Darnold really, you know what I'm saying? But the Vikings, they went 14-3. They did lose in the wild card round to the Rams, though. Like I said, they were the most surprising team last year with the resurgence of Sam Darnold. Some additions for the Vikings, and I think they hammered it this year. I think they did pretty well. They signed premier defensive tackles in Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. So they're beefing up that defensive line. They signed Jeff Okudah, a corner who, at Ohio State, I thought he was going to be a really good corner. He's been bouncing around the league so far. He hasn't found his place yet, but I think being in that Kevin O'Connell defense for sure, I think he'll probably find something there. They signed center Ryan Kelly. That's who they signed. And they also signed his teammate as well, and Will Fries. So they beefed up that offensive line for J.J. McCarthy. In terms of losses, they didn't lose too much. They did lose Sam Darnold to the Seahawks, and they lost Cameron Bynum, their safety, to the Colts. But they also drafted Donovan Jackson, another offensive lineman, offensive guard, like I said, for that offensive line to keep J.J. McCarthy protected for this upcoming season. The next team is the Packers, Jaron. The Packers, I think for the last 2 years, they've been one of the youngest rosters in the NFL. So I think they average out to be like 25 years old, which is kind of insane. So, and they went 11-6. They lost in the wild card round, though, to the Super Bowl champ Eagles. Not too many additions, unfortunately, Jaron. They added McCole Hardman. Pretty decent guy. And then also your boy Nate Hobbs. They added your boy Nate Hobbs from the Raiders as well. But I don't think Nate Hobbs is gonna, overcome their losses, because they lost both their starting corners in Eric Stokes and Jair Alexander, and then they also lost their center in Josh Myers, and then they also lost Eric Wilson, their linebacker, and AJ Dillon to the Eagles as well. The guys they drafted, though, they drafted Matthew Golden, though. Now, this is the first wide receiver, and I touched on it in my episode not too long ago when I talked about the NFL draft. They drafted Matthew Golden, the first wideout to be drafted in years in the first round by the Packers. I think the last time it was around like 2002 or something along those lines. So like I said, the Packers didn't make too many bolstering moves for that roster. Like I said, they're still one of the youngest rosters in the NFL. Yeah. Now here's the team right here, Darren. The last place Bears. They went 5-12, but they were one of the biggest free agency spenders this year. And the thing that they wanted, they honed it on, was the offensive line to protect Caleb Williams. So they got Drew Dahlman, Joe Thuney, They traded for Jonah Jackson. They also signed Grady Jarrett, who's a Pro Bowl defensive tackle. And they re-signed TJ Edwards, who is a Pro Bowl linebacker, a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker for sure. They also re-signed their GM Ryan Poles to a contract extension. And then some of their draft picks, it was surprising in this first round, but they drafted Colston Loveland, and they also drafted Luther Burden III. Some guys they lost Keenan Allen in the offseason. They didn't want to re-sign him because a little bit older and stuff like that. But no key losses here. So, Jaron, looking at this team, and I'll give my opinion, but I want to hear you first. How do you feel about this NFC North?
It's still a good division. I feel like the biggest thing is the Vikings and Sam Darnold leaving. Does JJ McCarthy give you the same production? That's the biggest question. I feel like everyone else, like the Packers and the Lions are pretty solidified in the division. They're top dogs. They need to make that extra step to, shake that regular season team title, because that's all they are right now. They're a regular season team. But the Packers are an over 10-win team. They added some good pieces to help Jordan Love and to help the secondary with that defense, losing Jair Alexander. Nate Hobbs isn't Jair, but it helps. But yeah, the Vikings is the biggest question to me. Like, how do you feel? Does JJ McCarthy really I personally, I think they're like a 5-win team. I think they make a bad drop off this year.
And that's where I totally agree with you, because I definitely feel in terms of this Vikings team, they will probably be the team that regresses. I love Justin Jefferson. I love him to death, but he can't be the only guy. And then Jordan Addison, he's great as well, but you can have all these flashy guys. Look at the Bengals last year. They missed the playoffs, even with the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still missed the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You can have all this flashiness on the offensive side, but obviously if that defensive side isn't, capable of doing much, or, like I said, who's throwing you the football? JJ McCarthy. He is a huge question mark. He has not played a snap in the NFL. I think he played in the preseason, and that's how he got hurt. But that's preseason. Yeah. You're not getting too much out of a preseason game. There's a lot of speculations that he looks really good. He's exciting. Like I said, I watched him at Michigan, Jaron. I watched him at Michigan all those years with Jim Harbaugh, and it's just like, I don't know, like. Yeah. That offense over there in Michigan, it's not tailored around throwing the ball. So it's like, I don't know still what we're getting out of JJ McCarthy. So when I look at the Vikings, I don't know. They're a huge question mark. I can see him being last in the division for sure.
Yeah. I will say, though, about JJ McCarthy, I went to the preseason game where in Minnesota against the Raiders. I watched JJ McCarthy for the first half. He played the entire first half. It's the Raiders, though. Let's calm down. But he looked good. I won't lie. He did look good. He was hitting passes all over the field, down the sideline, over the middle. He was doing his thing. But like you said, it was a small sample size. We haven't seen him in a real legitimate NFL game yet. So it's hard to gauge how that team does.
Definitely. But I think so. Look, this is what I think. I think the Vikings definitely they're gonna regress for sure. The Vikings will regress. How badly? Who knows? I can see them probably being maybe a 7-win team. You know what I'm saying? Maybe an 8-win team, 7-8-win team. Not enough to get them in the division. What is it? In terms of the Packers, though. That's another team that I think will regress a little bit. The Packers lost a lot on the defensive side. Yes, they got Jordan Love some help and stuff like that. They continue. They're going to be one of the youngest teams again. But, you can't count this Packers team out. I think they're going to regress a little bit to themselves. I can see them, this division is going to be very tough. I can see them being maybe a 9-win team next year. Will that be enough to squeeze them into the playoffs? I don't think so, because, look, my top 2 teams in this division, it's going to be the Lions. They're going to probably win for a 3rd straight year. And I got the Bears, Jaron. Look, I ain't going to lie. Hey, I ain't going to lie, Jaron. Look. We seen what Caleb Williams could potentially do. He just didn't have time in the pocket last year. There's a reason why people thought of him as maybe one of these generational talent kind of quarterbacks coming out of the draft. I see the vision. They got him some help too. They got him some help. They definitely bolstered that offensive line. I could see look, this could be the year the Bears, they can probably even dismantle the Packers. They might get the brooms out on the Packers this year. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think.
Okay, so if this team like only wins 5 or 6 games, that's a failure, right? We'll say that's a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Will we have to point the finger? I mean, it's only Caleb Williams' second year, but will we have to look at him with anything they've done to help him succeed?
I mean, let's kind of look at it from another team's perspective. Look at the Cardinals. I mean, they got Kyler Murray, and they haven't had much success with Kyler Murray, but they're still believing in Kyler Murray himself. So it's kind of the same with Caleb Williams, I believe. I think Caleb Williams has more intangibles and more tools in his toolbox than Kyler Murray for sure. I mean, shit, they both were what? They both were the first overall picks, correct? Yeah. So, but I think Caleb Williams will probably pan out to be a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray, but you know what I'm saying? He's more of a running gun type of guy. Well, Caleb Williams he got an arm on him, and he knows how to throw it into tight windows himself. So, and I think I'm not pointing the fingers at him. I don't think we should point the fingers at him. He's already recycling, he's going through different offense coordinators, another head coach. You know what I'm saying? We got to be patient with him. He still kind of has that raw talent too as well. Playing at USC and playing at Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying, in college, definitely different offensive systems and stuff like that. So I think with the Bears though, I mean, yes, there will be a little bit of tension on him, but like I said, they're going to double their wins. They're getting 10 wins this year. They're getting 10 wins this year, maybe even 11 wins this year. They're doubling that. Wow. So, and they're going to squeeze in a playoff spot. So, what do you think about that?
Clip that.
Hey, make sure y'all clip that. The Bears, I got family that have been Bears fans for a long time. I know a lot of friends that are Bears fans as well. And it seems each and every year, it just seems they're getting closer and closer. They are. It's just, they're missing pieces. And this might have been the year, this was the year that they had to see what they got in Caleb Williams. And I think he didn't do too bad. You know what I'm saying? He has rookie struggles. It is what it is. You're going to have struggles as a rookie. But, this second year, this could definitely be a defining moment for him. And then also for just that organization in general. I mean, like I said, they believe in Ryan Poles, his vision. That's why they gave him the contract extension. So, we're going to see what happens. They had this offseason to finally, this is his first full offseason as a NFL quarterback, his first full offseason with this Chicago Bears team. So in terms of the Chicago Bears, I truly believe they can, like I said, they can double their wins. They can get 10 wins. I don't think that's probably not the craziest thing to say, but I could see them slipping into the playoffs, getting a wild card spot, and we can kind of get some more of this Caleb Williams hype. You know what I'm saying? What's your prediction? So, where do you see the standings of the NFC North?
Okay. Personally, I think it's going to be, man, they had 5 wins last year. I think the Lions are still a 12, 13 plus win team for sure. They're going to be at the top of the division. I don't see the Packers making that big of a drop off. I think they win over 10 games and they sneak into the wild card personally. Then this is where I may agree with you. I mean, I guess I'm not really agreeing with you. The Bears will be above the Vikings, but I don't see them winning more than 7, maybe 8 games. It'll be a good year. Maybe it'll be a year that they can build off of. Mm-hmm. But I don't see them as a double-digit win team at all.
What's their because I don't really follow the Bears as much, but what is their I'm looking at their schedule right now because I don't know, it might be a tough schedule. Wait, that's the preseason. Okay, I was looking at that. I was like, whoa.
All righty. So week 1, we've got Monday Night Football against the Vikings. Mm-hmm. That's a win. I'll give you a win on that. Okay. Week 2, we got the Lions. Week 3 is the Cowboys. Week 4, it's the Raiders. Week 5, we got
Commanders.
You got the Commanders. That's an L. Then you go week 7 and you got the Saints. That's a dub. You got the Ravens next week, L. Then the Bengals up in the air. Then the Giants. That could be a win. Then you play the Vikings again. I think if they're 2 mediocre teams, they're probably going to split. I would say they split. Then you got the Steelers against the Bears. Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. Come on now. You got the Eagles and the Bears. That's an L. Then they play the Packers. Probably an L. Then the Browns. That could be a dub. The Packers
That's
again.
Shador. That's gonna be Shador's legacy game. Come on now.
And then they got the 49ers. Week 17, week
Oof.
18 is going to be the Lions.
Those
I
last two
mean,
games are going to be tough because the 49ers could be fighting for a playoff spot themselves. And then obviously the
yeah,
Lions, or the Lions could be resting starters. So that could be just a give me win for the Bears, honestly. Let's think about that. But no, that last back half, of those, that's going to be a grueling. Those first couple games is definitely grueling for them. Oh, shit. God
I mean,
damn.
I'm talking like they got like 4 obvious wins in their schedule, and maybe they surprise you on 3 to 4 other games. So I mean, yeah, like a 7 to 8 win team. I don't think it's 10. I think 10 is pushing it.
10 might be pushing it. Now that I look at it, see, and what I said what I say 2 weeks ago. Then there was another team that had like a very tough schedule.
Oh
I said the
shit.
Browns. I said the Browns,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Yeah.
I'm frying these teams. My fault, y'all. Hey, all my Browns fans and Bears fans, I'm giving you guys a lot of hope, but I'm looking at the schedule. You know, barring any injuries, I don't know. Some of these teams are probably gonna throw you into the fucking blender and fucking cook you. But
Yeah, they're fucked. They're fucked.
I'm not gonna lie. But okay, Jaron, but like let's say my next question for you is like, is there any player in particular on any of these teams that might surprise you, you know, that might have a jump this year? I mean, we have a couple, you know, there's a couple candidates, JJ McCarthy, Caleb Williams, of course. Maybe Jordan Love has another resurgence. Jared Goff, does he have another legacy year, or what do you think?
I think the biggest step is going to be like the biggest step to be taken is going to have to be any player on the Bears, whether it be Caleb Love, Romo Dunze, whoever it is. Like some of these guys, like got us DJ Moore have a crazy year, like something like that. I think that's going to be because their team was heavily improved, like we talked about. So I think they're going to have probably the a player or a couple players that probably stand out a little bit more in that division.
Definitely. And I want to know what you guys think down below about this NFC North. Where do you see the standings of these 4 teams? Do you see the Bears having a resurgence possibly and sneaking into the playoffs? Or do you see the Vikings dropping off? Or do you think one of these other, do you think one of these teams could dethrone the Lions? You know, I don't know. Dan Campbell got them playing with fire under their asses. So I don't know. They're just been on a steamroll. They are a regular season team. That is true. They need to show up in the playoffs. We'll see. We're going to keep an eye on this NFC North as time goes on. And, you know, like I said, I'm very excited. Let me know what you guys think down below. Next week, we're probably going to go into the Wild Wild West and talk about the AFC West as well. So, and, you know, me and Jaron, we're going to have a nice little debate with that one next week. So, but with all that being said, Jaron, we are entering our speed round. To get us started, actually, Jaron, you know, and this news just broke. So the news broke yesterday and also this morning. So Sauce Gardner, he gets sauced up with Garrett Wilson. Both sign a huge extension with the Jets. So Sauce, he signs a 4-year, $120 million contract extension, make him the highest paid corner in the NFL history. And then Garrett Wilson signs a 4-year, $130 million extension as well. Jaron, how do you feel about the Jets locking up 2 of their basically franchise guys?
It makes sense. I don't know if Sauce is worth top cornerback money at this point. He's great, but that's kind of it's crazy. But you got to set the standard. You know, you want to lock these guys up, like you said. They locked them up, so it makes sense. I understand why you do it. You got Justin Fields. You want to have who's also young. You want to have something to build on and something to keep continuing going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And then I mean, with Garrett Wilson, I mean, his future was looming because, you know, as soon as when Aaron Rodgers came in, there's a lot of debate with Devontae Adams and like Garrett Wilson's development being, you know, strucken by that. But luckily, you know, obviously that project failed and both guys have now been shipped off to different teams. So now this is Garrett Wilson's team. Now he has Justin Fields at the helm. And then with Sauce Gardner on the other side, like I said, he's the number 1 paid corner now this year. You know, the defensive player of the year, my boy, PS2, you know, now he has the 5th highest paid contract, which is a great value for defensive player of the year. And I don't know, I think there's some other guys ahead of him as well. So, you know, the drop off between Sauce and then PS2, you know what I'm saying? They've been kind of at each other's neck. Everyone's been debating who's better, Sauce or PS2. I mean, this is not even me being biased, but I feel like PS2 is probably the best corner in the league still. Obviously, he got Defensive Player of the Year. So, but
a little bias in there. There's a little bias.
a little bit, I guess. But and then with Garrett Wilson, like I said, I mean, he's a premier wide receiver, and I think his development, he's going to keep improving year in and year out. And I think with Justin Fields, that's just going to make things 100 times better. I'm sure he's happy to have Justin Fields instead of 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. So next thing is, Jaron, the Ndamukong Suh, he has officially retired. The Pro Bowler, all pro defensive tackle, potential Hall of Famer. What do you think, Jaron?
Potential Hall of Famer, dirty as fuck. I won't sugarcoat it.
That's what I was going to get into. Yeah. Do you think he's probably one of the
potential
dirtiest?
Hall of Famer.
You think he's one of the dirtiest players of all time?
The dirtiest player.
Even dirtier than Vontaze Burfict? He literally went on and stated that he actually wanted to hit. He said he didn't give a damn anybody else, but if you were a Steeler, you're getting fucking cooked.
I mean, yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's a debate. It's a fucking debate. I'll tell you that much. But I was looking into it, and Ndamukong Suh has it was I forget what the number was. It was like 200K or 250 or like something crazy in fines, like over $400,000 just in fines alone.
Damn.
And that's for dirty shit that he did. Like it's pretty fucking crazy. Now Vontaze is just as bad, but after he left the Bengals, like when he came to the Raiders, I watched every single game. He was a good player for us. I think he may have just made a couple plays that looked bad, but I mean, yeah, I think now that I'm talking about it, I think I'd still give it to Ndamukong Suh.
As one of the dirtiest, most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, but he was. I mean, besides his dirty antics and stuff like that too, he was still a pretty good. He was a really great player, though. Really good, great player. Yes. He was one of the staples for the Lions for sure for many years until he moved on and went to I think went to like the Dolphins. A couple other teams moved around in his last half of his year, but congratulations to Ndamukong Suh on a great long NFL career. Again, I mean, his track record doesn't speak too well, but I'll shout out to him. All right, hey Jaron. Now we have another young player in the Steve Kerr's regime who kind of speaks out. Now Kevin Looney, Jaron. Kevin Looney went on to speak why he wanted out of Golden State. He went and stated, it wasn't just one moment. Even this year in the playoffs, we're going up against Steven Adams, and that's the kind of matchup I thrive in. That's what I do. But I wasn't given the opportunity to do my job. It felt like, all right, y'all don't trust me, and I really thought I had earned that trust. Jaron, I mean, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. I think what was it with we talked about with Jordan Poole, and then there was Jonathan Kuminga. Jaron, what is going on here? Do we need to start pointing fingers at Steve Kerr? I know I know you already stated a little bit, but go ahead and talk.
Yeah, the Warriors, Steve Kerr, they don't develop too much talent. And so what they thought, I mean, Kevon Looney isn't by any means a star or anything like that, but he does have strengths to his game and weaknesses to his game, like any player. And he's 100% right. You're in a series where they're running 7-foot guys, centers, every moment that they can, and your center is Tracy Jackson Davis or fucking you got Jonathan Kuminga out there running around as the tallest guy on the floor. It just doesn't make sense. Steve Kerr has made a lot of questionable decisions since KD left. Other than they won a ring in 22, but other than that, I mean, and that was a weak ring. It wasn't like it's a ring, but that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not even gonna get into that. But it's just Steve Kerr is questionable. He inherited a team that was built to thrive, and I think he's taken it as far as he could, and it's gonna get worse and worse. He's
really relying on two of the old heads, and Steph Curry and Draymond, bro. Like, if your name's not Steph or Draymond, get the hell out.
He don't care. He don't care. Steph the ball and get the fuck out the way.
Get out the way, because look, I mean, like I said, multiple players spoke out about this development issue in Golden State. I mean, shit. It just seems like they really don't want to develop anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't know. We're gonna keep an eye on this team. If they fail to even make the playoffs this year, we might be seeing Steve Kerr on his way up out of Golden State. I don't know.
Did you see their roster? Did you see that
They didn't
shit?
make any moves.
Their roster is gross. It's disgusting. I can't lie.
Oh man,
Disgusting.
we gonna get into go. We're gonna get into the other California teams next week. Golden State and Sacramento. We're gonna go talk about them next week. Let's move on though, Jaron. Deion Sanders speaks out about there potential being an NIL cap in college. So he went on and stated how he wants the NIL salary cap in college football to be similar to the NFL, how the NFL operates. This is what he says. He says, I wish there was a cap, like the top of the line players make this. And if you're not that type of guy, you know you're not going to make that. That's what the NFL does. So the problem is you got guys that are not that darn good, but he can go to another school and they give him $500,000 and you can't compete with that. Sanders says, all you got to do is look at the college football playoffs and see what those teams spent. And you'll understand darn well why they're in the playoffs. It's kind of hard to compete with somebody who's giving $25-30 million to a darn freshman class. Now, Jaron, let's look into that. Jaron, like, what do you think about that?
He's so right. He is so right. It's college is just a matter of who has deeper pockets, and the SEC fucking destroys every other conference in that sense, and they do it every year. Georgia, Bama, that Texas is now in the SEC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like those three alone, like, are three of the biggest teams that always have the biggest recruiting class every year. And what are these other guys supposed to do? Like, yeah, they ain't got they pockets ain't as deep in fucking Boulder, Colorado than they are. Then, you know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. It's a smaller in terms of college. It's kind of a smaller market. Like, all the big teams are in like the Midwest and the South as far as football goes. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, I definitely would agree. And I mean, the main thing is, they're literally named this. They're named the Power Five teams, and then the Group of Five. I think Colorado goes into that Group of Five, I believe. I'm not too sure. I don't think they do, but yeah, Colorado. I mean, Deion's got to understand too. Like I said, you're coaching in Boulder, Colorado, as opposed to a big team like Alabama who got more money. I went to SDSU. We don't have a lot of NIL ourselves, so we can't get top tier big name players over there at SDSU. So I understand where he's coming from, because I think the competition it's a drop off, like you said. Like, there's a drop off. So if there is a cap, I think that will bring more like competition and bring more like value to a lot of these teams. And also, we'll get more teams, working to make that top 25, working to make it into the college football playoffs as well. But Deion's not wrong. It's going to be hard, because how will they actually, go about it? Because there's 130 plus schools, Jaron. How are you going to try to operate every single one of them? How are you going to keep an eye on every single one? There's going to be something happening, you know what I'm saying, behind the scenes. Yeah. Even before NIL was introduced, damn well some of these players were getting paid the big bucks. I think a lot of them even came out and stated, yeah, I got some money for show, but before NIL was ever introduced. So it's like, oh, yeah. So it's like, you can't, there's things you can't prevent, that you can't prevent at all. So it's like, we got to see where this goes. I don't know. Obviously, it's not going to be a discussion this year, but maybe the committee sits down next season and kind of sees, maybe sees how this year plays out. If it's the same as last year with, Group of Five teams making it and getting fucking waxed by these Power Five schools, and then just seeing like the disparity there, then we'd probably have a discussion. But as of now, it's just how they're going to control it is definitely, it's just, it's going to be unfair for some schools regardless, even if there's a cap. Because if there's a cap, small schools like come on now, Kennesaw State is probably going to not have that much money, okay? They're a D1 school. They're not going to have much money, as opposed to Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, all those schools. So it's like, I don't know. We'll see how that NIL cap situation goes. Next thing though, Jaron, look, the NBA 2K26 cover has been released, Jaron. So we got three star players on it. We got Angel Reese from the WNBA. We got the MVP, Finals MVP, Finals champion SGA on the cover, and we also got a legend in Carmelo Anthony for the Hall of Fame edition as well, Jaron. But there's been some speculations that these last couple covers have been kind of lackluster, Jaron. How do you feel about this cover?
It sucks. It's obvious. It's very blatantly just, we'll take a photo, we'll slap a logo on it, throw some effects in the background, and here you go. Like it's been very bad these last couple years. I think the last like really decent one was 23 with D Book. That one was okay. But yeah, I mean, this year in particular, or 26 in particular is very lazy.
Oh yeah. I think it is a little bit lazy. We probably need to throw Noah back there to go work on these covers. You know what I'm saying? Noah, I think you could probably have what it takes to definitely make these 2K covers a little bit better than what they are right now.
Why would you not put?
You give
Caitlin
Noah
Clark
a
on it?
Celsius and like an hour and a half, and he could do something better than that.
Okay, that's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but when we look at it too, Jared, do you think? Now, what is your favorite cover so far that you know of the NBA 2K games? Which cover is your favorite so far? Are you taking it back? Are you taking us back to 2012, 2013? Where are you taking us?
Nah, I'm a simple man. 2K18, Kobe Bryant edition. Come on now, I had the poster on my wall. That was, it had the purple background and everything. It was perfect. That's my favorite, personal favorite.
What about you, Noah?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. Hold on, let me see my microphone. 2K13 with Kevin Durant, Derrick Rose, and who was the other one? Blake Griffin. The three.
That one looked. See,
that one's most nostalgic to me. Yeah.
That one looked like they put more effort into it. This one literally is like you said, it's just a frame, like a shot that they took, and they added some effects in the background.
By the way, that was 2K17, Jaron.
2K17, Jaron.
Was that 2K17? I thought Paul George was 2K17. Oh, the Kobe. It was I remember.
Yeah.
2K18 was Shaq.
Yeah, I think they're just being very lazy with these covers. And, I don't know. At least with our generation, we have a lot of creative thoughts. So I don't know who's back there, working on these things. No disrespect at all. But I'm just like, maybe we could, think of something better. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of fans are probably outraged by it. I mean, I like Carmelo's. I like Carmelo Anthony's one. I'm glad Carmelo was on it for sure. I mean, it's cool they put Angel Reese, you know what I'm saying? Because, that Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark debate, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, it's going crazy right now. So, but, I really like the Carmelo one. You know what I'm saying? Well deserved for him. I can't wait to see his son play as well. I'm sure he has the same intangibles as his father. So we get another Anthony in the NBA in the next couple of years for sure too. So, all right, Jaron. Another thing is, we talked about it earlier before the show start. The NFL coaches, executives, and scouts released their top 10 quarterback rankings. Let's kind of go into it. Obviously, number 1 was Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Josh Allen. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 5, Jaden Daniels. Number 6, Matthew Stafford. Justin Herbert. Jared Goff. Jalen Hurts. Baker Mayfield. With honorable mentions being Jordan Love and CJ Stroud. Jaron, what do you think about that? Any surprises?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels. I mean, as much as I wanted him to be a Raider, I don't think he's the top 5 quarterback in this league as of right now. That's kind of crazy. Justin Herbert, don't listen. I am a Raider fan. I get it. You can say I'm biased. I'm a fucking hater, whatever. He has not done shit. Okay. What are his 2 playoff berths? What were they up 30-6 on the Jaguars? They lost that game. And then did they play against Houston?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did he throw? Like 5 picks or something crazy like that? Justin Herbert is not a top 10 quarterback.
He's not. That's not crazy to say. That's not crazy to say. I stand with you on that because and why do they got the Super Bowl champion underneath 3 two players who don't have a ring to their name, which I'm like, and he's outplayed. By the way, this guy, I don't know. I guess they're looking into this year. I don't know. I don't know what their criteria is, but Jalen Hurts has outplayed the number 1 guy in 2 Super Bowls. So he's outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both Super Bowls, by the way. So definitely, and then Jaden Daniels over him, where he actually dominated Jaden Daniels in that Washington Commanders team in the NFC Championship. Jalen Hurts. Put him up. He's top 5. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in this league. In terms of Justin Herbert, bounce his ass out. Definitely put CJ Stroud in there. I would put Jordan Love. Here's my other honorable mention. Let's put Tua in there as well.
Bro.
Oh.
Nah,
I'm joking. I'm clip farming.
But
But if I'm being honest, so like I mean, yeah, Jane Daniels, like, he had a spectacular rookie year. I'm going to give him his flowers, but he's an honorable mention. You know what I'm saying? Baker Mayfield at 10, that is a perfect spot for him, I think. Perfect spot. You know, he's proven he's a really good quarterback in this league. I'm not changing up that top 3. I might put Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes, maybe. But that top 3 is pretty solidified. That top 4 almost. I might even bump Lamar Jackson up a little bit. I love the Matthew Stafford respect, though, too. And then also Jared Goff, you know, he's not no scrub himself. But I'm definitely taking Justin Herbert and Jen Daniels off, moving Jalen Hurts up, and I'm throwing CJ Stroud and Jordan Love up in there as well. Is there anyone else that I'm possibly missing, Jaron? Kyler Murray?
No.
Geno Smith?
No. Yeah, maybe. Hey, we don't
Geno
know.
Smith is the
But
15th best quarterback in the league. I promise you he's the 15th best.
wow, that's crazy.
Middle
That's
of the pack. Middle of the pack, Jaron. So, but overall, I mean, like I said, they're not smoking too much crack over there, the executives, but at the same time, this list could have been a little bit better. This list could have been a little bit better for sure. A little bit better. A couple inches there for sure that need to be moved around and shit. All right, Jaron. Last thing is your boy. You know what? I like him a lot. Brock Bowers has been ranked as the best tight end this upcoming season, Jaron, at number 1. I didn't look at the full list. I don't know if you have the full list pulled up yourself. Let me see. Tight end ranking. Damn, I like Brock Bowers.
Who came? It was execs and coaches, right?
Yep. So I got it right here. So Brock Bowers at 1. Then goes George Kittle, Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Isaiah Likely, Dallas Goedert, and David Njoku. With honorable mentions being, damn, that's a lot of honorable mentions. Dalton Kincaid, Pat Freiermuth, Hunter Henry, what the hell? Evan Ingram, Cole Kmet, Jake Ferguson, and Jonnu Smith. So those are some of the honorable mentions right there. Darren, how do you feel about this?
What the hell to Hunter Henry?
Hunter
He was
Henry,
a dog. Hey, look, he was a dog with Phillip Rivers.
I ain't gonna lie. Well, Phillip Rivers makes anyone look like a dog. I like Phillip Rivers, but Brock Bowers at number 1, Jaron, how do you feel about that? You know, he's getting his respect. He could have been Rookie of the Year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He could have been
Rookie of the Year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, he was the first, I think, what is it? He broke the most receptions by a rookie at any position with 112, which is crazy. And then he had the most receptions by any player in a single season in Raiders history. So he's already putting himself up there in the upper echelon as a Raider. So, obviously, I hope you guys can keep Brock Bowers. He's a nightmare matchup for anybody, any safety. Shit, maybe, I mean, shit, you're going to have to throw your best corner at Brock Bowers because, I mean, he's your best weapon. Who the hell else you guys got? I ain't scared of nobody else you guys got.
Okay. What you mean? No, I'm not. We're not doing that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Brock Bowers deserves it 100%. When you had Desmond Ritter, sorry. Desmond Ritter, fucking Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell throwing you the ball, and you were still able to put
That's the big 3. What are you talking about?
And you're still able to put up damn near 1,200 reception yards and catch 112 balls. Like with those quarterbacks throwing at you, that's elite. That is very elite.
That is elite. On God, that is.
And fun fact, he is the first player to rank number 1 at his position, any position in the NFL after the rookie year. Joe Burrow didn't do it. Justin Jefferson didn't do it.
Patrick Mahomes didn't do it. Patrick Mahomes didn't even do it. So,
none of them.
Well, technically, Patrick Mahomes didn't play until his second year, but he still put up 50 plus fucking touchdowns that year. But no, I mean, look, I mean, in terms of the Raiders, though, I mean, I'm gonna give Brock Bowers, like, he's probably one of my favorite players on the Raiders for sure. Next to probably Geno Smith. I like Geno Smith, even though he's the 15th ranked best quarterback. But you know, I like him a lot, and I think Brock Bowers, you know, he's gonna be a problem next year for sure. But I think teams are gonna have a game plan for sure for this Raiders team, you know. But now, my question to you, is Brock Bowers a blocking tight end at all? Because he could help out a lot for Ashton Genty as well. So.
No, we got Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer's our blocking tight end.
Oh yeah, and you got him the year prior to getting Brock Bowers.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot you guys doubled up on tight ends, and I thought you guys were dumb for it. You know what I'm saying? So
no, yeah, he's more the blocking tight end. He can still go out there and catch a ball. So whenever they extend out the line and you know, go I formation, whatever it is, he's usually out there. But then you can have them both out there because you can throw Brock Bowers as a wide receiver, just how we were doing with Darren Waller. You can put him out on the sticks or on the sideline and let him do his thing. So yeah, it works out well. And with Jacoby Myers too, Ashton Genty. Come on now, you're talking
Jacoby
about your man.
Myers is the 32nd best wide receiver in the NFL.
Wow, listen, underrated as fuck, man. Don't do him like that.
Well, Jaron, that's all I have for you today, and that's all I have for you guys back at home as well. Let me know what you guys think down below about any of these topics. I know, look, tell me right now that Geno Smith is the 15th best quarterback in the NFL, but
Name me 15 better quarterbacks.
Brock Purdy. I'm not gonna go into that. We're not getting into that. You're lucky. I'm not gonna get into that. But I promise you, I will. I got you. Next episode, I promise you guys, I'm gonna name 15 better quarterbacks than Geno Smith.
That better be the first thing you talk.
Oh, deadass. Oh, I'm so deadass. I'm so deadass too about this. Don't worry, Jaron. Don't worry. I'm about to fry your shit. Also, by the way, guys, I think Jaron said he'll be coming back home soon. So I don't know if it'll be next week. I don't know when it will be, but Jaron will be back home pretty shortly, and then we can have him back in the studio with us and back in, we can talk about his Raiders. Hopefully, if he's back home next week, we talk about his Raiders. But I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Sorry about that little break we had. Like I said, had a lock in and stuff like that. Jaron, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Be safe out there in Pennsylvania. Noah, thank you so much for all your production work today, and you guys have a great one. All right.